Boo! What's up guys, hope you had a good weekend. Welcome back to Opinionate. My name's Murphy and today we're going to be talking about the new Walking Dead episode called Go-Getters. But before we get onto that, I've just got back from the cinema watching Arrival and I feel like I need to do a bit of a public service and tell you guys just to go and see that film. Holy crap, what a film. I walked out of the cinema like, poof. I won't spoil it for you guys, but in short, just go and see it. Before we also move on to The Walking Dead, I just want to give a shout out to you guys. We recently started a new Twitter account to try and build up a profile. We're also looking at expanding our video content, looking at more quick plays rather than just doing the slightly drunk ones where I get slightly drunk. And I've also recently done the 15 things in 15 years of Xbox. That video seems to have gone down well. I've had some good feedback off that. I just want to thank you guys for the support. I know we're a small channel and all things start small, but it's picking up already and we've only recently started Twitter, so future can only hold great things, so thank you guys. Now that I've got that out of the way, let's talk about The Walking Dead. This was a pretty good episode and there's some stuff we certainly have to discuss. As always, there's a spoiler warning in effect, so if you haven't caught up with the TV show or even the comic books, then go away, catch up, and then come back and see what we have to say on the matter. Right, let's address the elephant in the room, which is Gregory this week. He's a twat. Yeah, after not knowing for several weeks what was going to happen to Maggie and Sasha, we finally found out this week that they do make it to the hilltop safely, which I think all of us could probably guess. But yeah, like, they're just getting stick off Gregory. You can sort of see his reasoning behind the things that he does, but at the same time he's got no backbone, and it should tell him when everyone around him is disagreeing that he might be wrong, like he should at least question where he's standing, but no, he's just a complete arsehole. Now that's nothing against Xander Berkeley's performance of Gregory. This is the character, and if you have read the comics, then you know what he's like. And a good thing that I actually did like about this week's episode was that there were seeds planted for stuff that he does much later on in the comics, which is to say he's a bit of a snake in the grass. I won't spoil what happens there if you haven't read it, and if you only watch the TV show. But yeah, he won't hesitate to betray people, and we sort of got to see that this week, and it was really good to see Jesus sort of pull one over on him. I think it was smart as well of not just the writers but the producers as well to choose to focus on some of the other saviours. Like I said in last week's episode, as much as I love Negan, I feel like we need to have him more fleshed out, just to give him more layers as a character rather than this one-note walking talking badass, which he is at the moment, and I'm still enjoying him. I like that this episode chose to use Simon over Negan. It just gives other characters their chance to shine, even if they were doing similar sort of things to what Negan does. It was good just to get the spotlight somewhere else, because this is a big ensemble show at the end of the day. It was also good to see Maggie after Glenn's death from the first episode. And yeah, she's come back strong. Like, she's still a really strong character, and yeah, Lauren Cohan's performance again is brilliant. Like, the performances in this show are just great. I'll just get that out of the way right now. I think I say it every week about someone. But you can tell that they're planting the seeds there as well, and it's not even subtle. It's pretty obvious that they're trying to set up that Maggie will eventually take over Hilltop, which again, if you've read the comics, kind of happens. It does happen. But yeah, just quickly about Maggie, I think it's good, and Sasha as well, that we don't really see them just crying and weeping and moping around. Like, we see them quite being proactive about the whole thing and trying to want to solve the problem. It just makes it more interesting viewing. It makes them more interesting characters as well. We've seen enough weeping and everything on the show. There was one part of the episode though that did feature them that I wasn't the biggest fan of, and that was quite early on in the episode where the gates open, there's a car playing some sort of music I couldn't quite recognise, and then all these walkers start coming in, and Maggie, Sasha and Jesus go to basically solve the problem. And while it was good that we did get to see Maggie be the leader and actually tell people what to do to try and solve the problem, and it was badass as well because we got to see more of Jesus kicking the shit out of people, which is always fun. But I don't know why, it just seemed too comical, like Maggie going over the car in the tractor. Like, okay, I know she was working on a farm, that's where she got introduced in the show, so her being able to drive a tractor isn't too far out there, but I don't know, it just seemed almost slapstick. to me, it felt at odds to everything else that was going on in this episode and in this season in general. The events at Hilltop were the only events that took place in this episode. I also want to talk about Carl and Enid. Now, this episode confirmed a little theory that not just myself, but I think quite a few of the fans have had about Enid for a while, which is that she's sort of replacing, or taking the place of, I should say, rather than actually replacing a few of the characters from the comics, and this episode actually took a direction that I wasn't expecting. It almost seems like she's taking the place of not one but two characters. So at the moment, and everyone had this suspicion anyway, that she was going to be taking the place of Lydia, who's a character that actually isn't introduced yet. Like, she comes a little bit later on when the Whisperers are involved, but she seems to be this character that gets very close with Carl, and that's what Enid also seems to be doing. Sorry, I'm stumbling over my words. Have some tea. That's better. Right. So Lydia comes into it later, and she's someone that forms a very close relationship with Carl, and that's something that is definitely happening with Enid. We also got to see that kiss today. Woo. But what I found surprising was she seems to be taking the place of Sophia. So obviously Sophia is already dead by this point in the TV show, but in the comic books she's still very much alive, and she becomes the surrogate daughter to Maggie and Glenn. And now after Glenn's death, it almost seems like Enid's going to be there for Maggie and trying to help her out, and it seems like she's going to take on that role of Sophia, which is something I didn't see coming, but I think it's a good move. Like, it makes sense actually, so why I didn't think of it. If you've also read the comics as well, then the ending to this episode will definitely have got you excited about what's to come. It did for me. So one of my favourite parts in the comics is between Negan and Carl, and it's actually a conversation that they have and some time that they spend together, and it seems like that is about to happen, if not next week, in the next couple of episodes maybe. But what's interesting is that Jesus and Carl are together, so it's a big thing in the comics that the two of them are at the Saviour's base together, but they don't know that they're there. They don't know that the other one's there, that's what I mean. But yeah, like, I got really excited because that sets up one of my favourite parts of the comics overall. So, woohoo! I really like this episode, but what do you guys think? Do you enjoy it, or did you not like it at all? Tell me your thoughts in the comments below, like the video, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this one, and also don't forget to follow us on Twitter at LTBYouTube. Stay tuned for more videos like this one, guys, and thanks for watching. Boo!